Welcome. I'm Rich Douglas.
I'm Bill Easton.
And this is the first episode of the Guys Telling Stories podcast. I know. Basically, I want to turn to my friend Bill here and say, hey, Bill.
Hey.
Let's start a podcast.
What's a podcast, Rich?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. We're recording live, and I asked Bill to join me, and in all honesty, a lot of people out there are wondering what's a podcast. I told my parents we're starting one. Even my brother, he's younger than I am, and he said I don't listen to him. Well, a podcast is like on-demand radio. We're going to start a show. We're going to record for a season. Going to interview some really cool people, and hopefully you like it.
Oh, I like it. You weren't talking to me, though, were you?
I was talking to the listeners, but...
Cool.
All right, guys, please subscribe to the show on the iTunes podcast app or on your Android device and take a minute to rate and review. It really helps us out. Apparently, that's the way these things work, and it's one of the ways you can show that you like what we're doing here. So subscribe to the show, rate us, leave a simple review. Tell people why you like the Guys Telling Stories podcast. It helps us out. We really appreciate the support.
You can find our show online at guystellingstories.com. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at Guys Telling Stories. Also, we are on Twitter, so follow us on Twitter at Guys Tell Stories. Yeah,
apparently Twitter has fewer characters, so we are Guys Tell Stories, Bill.
Guys Tell Stories.
Yeah, Guys Tell Stories. So Bill, they need to know who we are. Who is Bill Easton? Just tell us one quick thing that makes you an interesting guy to hear stories from.
Lifelong resident of Buffalo, New York, except for 6 years where I spent my college career in West Virginia at WVU.
Let's go!
Mountaineers.
Oh, yeah.
How about you?
You know, I think one of the more interesting things is I really like to do events with lots of people. So in high school, I did student council where we got to plan homecoming. College, I planned concerts. I mean, they were smaller, but 3,000 people. And then I move on to life like this, and I go, hey, with the internet, I could do a podcast and reach way more people. We just got to come up with a good name. And so I turn to you, I call you one day, and I say, hey, Bill, I got a name for the podcast.
And I said it's going to be podcast.
He still didn't know what it was back then either. No, I came up with
podcast.
Like the Rich and Bill life story, and it was terrible.
It's a bad idea.
It was a bad idea, but the ones that I like to listen to are storytelling podcasts, and it's just a couple of guys like us. And we're not just going to tell our own stories, we're going to tell other people's stories, but it's going to be us every single time, so let's call it Guys Telling Stories.
Cool.
Yeah. So, kind of interesting, and just to give you a little preview of what you can expect, we have a couple of guests in mind, but nothing planned yet. So, Bill, if I ask you, who do you want to interview?
In Buffalo or anywhere?
I'll tell you what. Let's start with people we know. Mm-hmm. Don't got to be specific, but then let's go bigger.
Okay.
Give me one type of person.
Sports figures.
Buffalo Bills went to 4 Super Bowls in a row.
Someone had to be there for all 4, aside from me.
Let's find that guy and talk to him.
I don't want to talk about that.
No, I know. I don't want to talk about that either.
Okay.
But it would be really cool to interview some athletes. They could be athletes that are professional. Maybe they're people that want to be professional. They are about to enter the draft or something. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
How about performers? Like comedians. Yeah, music, comedians. I had a guy in college when I was doing the concerts. He was an up-and-comer. I went to a little conference, and his name was Eric Hutchinson.
I've heard of him.
You have? Okay, well, he was really good back then. Basically a one-man band, guitar. All of a sudden, a few years later, started playing the piano. And believe it or not, I asked him if we could have some of his music to be used as our theme song, intro and outro. He replied back, which was awesome. Thank you, Eric. And he said yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Are we going to do it?
Let's use his songs, and we'll give him credit for it.
Do I know him? Like the songs?
You will,
All right.
and so will our listeners.
Sweet.
We just got to pick them.
So I'll still send my email to Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Eric, if Stevie replies and says yes, we have some new theme music, but don't hold your breath on that one.
Okay.
So I think maybe, one of the bigger things that I've noticed is breweries, new restaurants popping up, all this crazy cuisine. Maybe we interview people that are starting a business like that. What do you think?
That's a great idea. And I think there's endless, you can go fine dining, you can go brewery, you can go fast food, you can go,
Do you know anybody like that? Do you know a brewery guy? Do you know a restaurant guy? Because
yeah.
You do?
I have a couple.
Okay, I know a few of the performers. I think we can get a comedian. I think we can get at least one or two singer-songwriters.
I know the restaurant people, so to me it's cool hearing what they have in general, but I think like this Eric Hutchinson, I know him by name. I can't picture any of his songs. But if that's someone, that you were thinking of, that would be kind of cool. Like, why do I know the name and not know anything else about him? So I think that would be to learn about other things I don't normally follow. Like, I follow sports, I follow breweries, I follow bars, I follow restaurants. My business is in all of those. So why not learn more about some of the stuff that I don't know so much about? Like, I should know. I probably should know who he is.
Well, it sounds like we're setting out what we want to be. And I think we're going to be entertaining. It sounds like we're going to spotlight these personalities, and they're going to be all over the place. They could be people who are entrepreneurs, behind-the-scenes people, entertainers, athletes. We want this to be entertaining, so give us feedback. We want it to be funny, fun, hopefully a little bit motivating and inspirational.
Inspirational would be kind of cool.
Well, you know what? Here's the deal. There's a lot of people that sit on their couch or listen to these things during a car ride, a little session on the elliptical or treadmill at the gym. And I want to talk to people who have gotten off the treadmill, gotten out of the car, and taken that next step, that first step, and then the step after that. And 1,000 steps later...
Risk takers.
Yeah, maybe they just decided they wanted to work for themselves. Yeah. You know how tough it is to take... I could be your manager, Bill, and you could be a comedian, and I could walk right up to you, right to stage right, stage left, and you have to take those last 20 steps to the microphone. What's it like to be the guy that takes the last 20 steps when most people only take, let's say, the first 1,000?
I like it.
I like it too. Hey, you the fans, though, remember what I said before. The biggest way you can help us out in the beginning is subscribing to the show. How do you do it? If you have a phone, you figure it out. You download an app, you hit subscribe, and if you're like me, you're not going to rate and review the show. I know that. I'm not going to do it. I've listened to podcasts for years, and you don't rate and review, but please, for us, from the bottom of our hearts.
Yes.
Click rate.
Click and
5 stars. Write a review. You can write a terrible review. Tell people you hate us. But 5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Hate them.
I hate them. Hate these guys. Guys telling stories.
They're addictive.
Hate.
They're addictive. Hate them.
And then you'll help us out, and things will go the way we want them to. So thanks again. You can also get a hold of the show at guystellingstories.com, Facebook and Instagram at Guys Telling Stories, and of course Twitter at Guys Tell Stories. Well, here's the plan for the schedule. We are going to look to release episodes, I would say, once a week. We're going to do a season. We're going to get a ton of really good guests. I hope we get some funny ones, some inspirational ones, some entertaining ones. You're going to learn a little bit more about Bill and I. We are here to hear stories. If it comes across from me, Bill, from you, that's great. If it comes across from our guests, that's even better.
That's
because
better.
I'll tell you what, let's hear the story from the people who lived it, and we get to talk to them for a little while.
Cool.
How's that sound?
That sounds great.
All right. Well, we're going to make sure that we make this thing interesting for you. You can check us out online at guystellingstories.com. Where else, Bill?
We are on the Facebook and the Instagram at Guys Telling Stories, and follow us on Twitter. That is at Guys Tell Stories.
If you like what you hear, go to the website, click the support the show link, tell your friends about it, send them emails, share the link on Facebook. When we're getting this thing off the ground, we need your help, and we need your feedback. So
feedback's important.
Please like the show, share the show, support the show, and I guarantee you, we're going to get some really good guests.
If you have ideas for guests, get a hold of us. We'll see what we can do.
Okay, so after Bill and I talked that night, we actually landed some really amazing guests. We have one of the premier restaurateurs in all of Western New York. He started and opened probably the largest restaurant in New York State. We're not going to give away any names right now, but we just want to kind of tease and preview. Bill, who else did we line up so far?
There is a local brewery that opened in the last year, and we have both of them on our shows as well.
So if you like beer, you like breweries, we're going to talk to two guys that took the plunge and opened up their own brewery. I emailed Eric Hutchinson. He got back to me and said, no problem with the music, you can use it. I kind of tried to throw in if we could get an interview with him.
Great, when's he on?
He said no. But I give him credit. I did not check his tour schedule, and he is literally on tour when I asked him if he could do it. So one of our goals for the future, we'll get Eric. But I found a really cool guy that's just starting out. He's a full-time singer-songwriter.
We have another restaurateur. This guy has opened multiple bar restaurants in the Buffalo area. He's interesting to talk to.
Last but certainly not least, we found and requested the person behind a really successful viral website that promotes cool events in and around a large city. I can't wait to talk to her. Guys Telling Stories is not all about guys. There's girls involved too, of course. And we're going to see what she did behind the scenes to start a successful business online. So please, subscribe to the podcast. I can't wait for you to listen to a few of the episodes. And in fact, you should be able to download one within the next couple of days. So like us on Facebook, subscribe on iTunes or your Android device, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and enjoy the show.
Guys Telling Stories.
I'm Rich Douglas.
I'm Bill Easton.